Are you a local service-based provider that could use more consistency in getting referrals? Well, if that is you, then I encourage you to hang out with me here over the next few minutes, and I am going to be teaching you how to actually do that using a system that I created, the 36 Connect framework that I have been going over the last, this will be part 6. And if you've missed that, then I encourage you to go back and watch those other ones after this one. I'm Bill Utenage, and I am the author of the Amazon bestselling book, Referability Roadmap. And I help local service-based providers generate more referrals in their business. And so what I've been doing over this last now going on week is breaking down this system, this 36 Connect system of client engagement. How are we engaging with our clients, our database, sphere of influence, our network, right, on a consistent basis? That is going to lead to more consistent referrals. So just to kind of recap where we've been over these last few days is I started with number one is our monthly. What we're going to do each month with each person inside of our database is we're going to send an email. And we're also going to send a direct mail piece. And then we talked about what we were going to do quarterly is actually having a phone call, calling them, having a conversation, and then also utilizing text messaging as well as communicating with them once a quarter. And I also talked about how we can utilize video inside of when we're texting people. So again, covered a lot of information. So I encourage you to go back. And so now where we are, we're on the biannually, or for simple people like myself, hey, what are we going to do twice a year? And yesterday I talked about the handwritten note, the power of the handwritten note. Please go back and just, if you don't do any of those other ones, watch that one from yesterday because there's a lot of power in that. And so today, where are we? We're right here. And we are going to talk about the face-to-face meetings. And these are so critical that we're making sure that we're getting face-to-face with people in our database at least twice a year. Now, you've heard me talk about that by categorizing our database into three categories, right? Are what we call our A clients, those are our advocates. Those are people that are doing business with us multiple times a year, depending on what industry you are, or they're referring us multiple times a year, right? Those are the people that we want to be in front of more often. And then we have our B's, what we call our B category. Those are anyone that's done business with us or has referred business to us. And then our third and final category are going to be what we call our C category. And those are like everyone else, people that are in our network that we know. It could be friends, family, all of those people, the people that know who we are, what we do, and how we do it. And by having those categorized into those three groups, it makes it so much easier for us to identify, hey, who we should be talking to and when. And by using, it's down here, by using this framework, this system. So I would encourage you, if you want a copy of it, of this client engagement playbook, everything that I've gone over, I go over here and break that down in detail. So just drop me a comment, the word playbook down below, and however you're consuming this content today, and I'll shoot it over to you for free in Messenger. All right, so let's get rolling. So we talked about face-to-face meetings, right? So what is a face-to-face meeting? Okay. Well, as the name would imply, is that we want to be face-to-face. Ideally is actually being in person with people. One of the things that I find to be the most powerful is when we're breaking bread with someone. And that could look a lot of different ways. It could be actually coffee, having coffee with someone. If you don't drink coffee, that's okay. For years, I didn't drink coffee. And so I have coffee with people, then I would drink water, something else. It's just a meeting that we can do in the morning before lunch, just to sit down face to face with someone and have a conversation. Lunches are another great one, and it could be dinner, it could be happy hour, whatever that looks like for you, is to be able to get in front of people and breaking bread with people in our database, especially our clients, and especially those clients that are going to be our A clients, those that are advocates, because these people they've already raised their hand and they've said, hey, I believe in what you do. I'm referring you. I'm going to send you to my friends and my family. But the issue, what we want to make sure that we don't do, and this is where I see this happen a lot, is we'll take those people for granted. Meaning is they've already proven that they'll refer us. Is that they're like, oh well, Sarah, she's always, she loves us. She's always an advocate for us. She's always, referring us. Yes, that is true. But the issue of this is, I want you to understand, is what we appreciate appreciates. And this is why we're spending time, why we're doing all of the things, right, that I've been teaching, and I teach this to my students, my one-on-one clients, is being in front of people, letting them know, helping them make their life easier, better, solving a problem for them, even outside of the scope of what you are in your industry. And I've talked about that now over the last 5 videos on this. And again, I'm reiterating this again today, is we don't want to forget that the importance of these people have in our business, especially our A's. Now, all of the people in our database all have value, obviously, as people. That's not what I'm talking about. But not everyone has the same value to your business, right? So I have Sarah, who's referring me multiple times a year, versus having someone else in my database that I may have just met that hasn't referred me, has never done business with me, right? Which one has more value to my business? Well, Sarah's going to have more value to my business. And I'm not saying that the other people that you meet, that you put into your database, eventually won't. And if you'll do the system, if you'll make those connections and do that, then what we're constantly looking to do is, how do we move somebody from that C, right? That just is a met, to someone that has referred or done business with us. And then those people that have referred or done business with us, then how do we move those up to that they're become an advocate for us? And when we do that, if you think about this, we can start to create kind of like this conveyor belt in our business as we bring people through our ecosystem, if you will. And so the big part of that is doing these face-to-face meetings. So at a minimum, what we want to do is we want to get face-to-face 2 times a year. And especially, these are going to be really, for sure, our A and our B clients. Okay. Now, it's not to say that the people that are your C's in your Met category that you can't do that. Obviously, I would encourage you to do that. But what I want us to make sure that we're always focused on is our highest and best use is these people have already done business with you, or they have referred you. So what we want to do is, how do we pour into them? And I would say with everybody in your database, but what I'll also tell you is, on your A clients, is you want to be spending, and when I was in my real estate business, I wanted to be in front of my A clients at least once a month, in front of them. So I'm taking them to lunch. And again, I want you to understand, this number is going to be it's going to be a smaller number. It's not going to be like it's typically. Now, if it is, great for you. It's going to be hundreds of people, right? I had probably at the time, probably 15 to 20 people that were going to be my advocates, that were going to be my A clients. These are people that are, in our case, in the real estate world, were, maybe an investor clients, where they're doing, more business, with us, or they were just people that loved us and referred us a lot of business. And so I was in front of those people, a lot more. So this is, again, why we want to categorize our database and understand where we need to be spending most of our time with. So what we want to do is making sure that if you haven't done that, is we got to get that done, because then the system starts to work, and it becomes a system, because we can systematize that, because we break everything out, because we know what we're doing, right? Roughly, there's 7 different, if you notice this, there's 7 different mechanisms or activities inside of this. And the reason to do that is, what I found is because people respond differently, right, to different things, whether that might be email, direct mail. And we're using all these kind of different approaches, versus just sending 36 emails out a year going, and right, do you think that would be as effective? No, I don't believe it is. People do that because they're going to err on the side of like, oh, well, that's efficient. But sometimes we can be efficient and not be effective. And we want, at times, ideally, we want to be both. But I want to make sure that I'm effective. And the passive things that I talked about, over the last couple of videos, it's easy. Like the direct mail piece, the texting, the email, those are are somewhat passive. It's when we start picking up the phone, right? We're having conversations. This one is, I think, the most powerful one is getting face to face. Now, people will go, "Hey, Bill, can we do that on Zoom?" And you may. It depends on, with me and my coaching business, I have people all over the area, all over the country, in a sense, right? So I'm not going to probably be able to, you know, drive to Houston and have lunch with Dana. I mean, it's probably not going to work. If I was ever in that area visiting or traveling, yes, I could do that. So yes, that is the case. But for my business as a coach and a consultant, in a sense, is that it's nationwide. As a local service provider, just like when I was in my real estate business, your people, again, that's hence the word local. So you're a local in that case. Not that you couldn't have people, especially as a insurance agent or as a financial planner or advisor. Yes, you could have clients across the country. I definitely get that. So yes, in that case, I would at least get face to face with them on a Zoom call. Just again, so you're seeing them, and there's where that communication even becomes even more important if you have clients throughout the country that are outside of the area where you actually live in. But what we want to do, so like I said, breaking bread, getting face to face with them. It could be, one of the other things, and I didn't include this because it's kind of, I don't say it's advanced, but one of the other things that we did in our real estate business, and I have other clients of mine that do this, is once they've kind of, get good at really doing this, right, is then having client events, because this is a great way to get face to face with people one to many. And I have one of my clients, Chris, he does a movie. He rents out a movie theater, brings all of his people in, does a family oriented movie, brings in, a couple of hundred people. And he's able to then, hey, meet with them, and just talk it up, chat them up, and bring value to them, on a Saturday afternoon. We did things in our real estate business. We did a bowling where we would rent a whole bowling alley, bring people in and do, all of that. So I'm not saying that you're at that point. If you are, that's awesome. You understand, the one to many piece of that. That's what I love about it, is I can be in front of a lot of people all together. And so, but the face-to-face but the whole point behind it is I'm face-to-face with them, right? They're seeing me, I'm hearing them, we're talking, we're chatting, all of those things. So face-to-face, at least 2 times a year. If they're your A clients, right? If these are A people, I'm going to say 1 time a month. Okay. Again, this is going to be a smaller number. This may be 10 or 15 people. These are your advocates. Okay. And then your B's. And again, you may want, depending on who they are, you may want to also looking through your database and kind of going, hey, so we know that we have our 3 categories, and be looking at it strategically. Is like, hey, who's in there that I like, that I really, I have a good synergy with. I like them. I really want to start spending more time with them. Is inviting them to lunch, because you never know, where that is going to. And the less time that we spend with people, we're just not top of mind. And this is why we don't want to take any of our folks for granted that are referring us business, especially that are A's. None of the people really, because the referral is the best. What I have found is the best business on a lot of reasons. One, from a customer acquisition cost standpoint, is the least way to get a new piece of business. Is someone that you already have that is singing your praises, that refers their friends or family members to you. It's crazy. That's why referral business, I know in our business, what allowed us to run such a high profitability in our business, with 94% of that business at that time. And now I'm 3 years as I've stepped out of that business. I'm sure it's that much, or possibly even higher. And it allows for a higher profitability inside of it, because we're not chasing people down. We're not buying leads, doing all of those, other things. We can be way more targeted. It's a more enjoyable way to do business, because typically when someone gets referred, and it's not guaranteed that, just because someone refers it that they're going to, that it's a slam dunk. It's definitely not that. We have to earn the business every single time. But if someone says something good to me and they refer their friends or family to me, then I've already got a kind of a leg up on anybody else at that point in time. So it's showing up, it's doing the right thing, all of those things, and that business starts to look better all the time, because now I've added that new person, right? That was referred. Now I can tap into the 250 people on average that everyone knows. And that's why building our database, why doing all of these things, right? There's a method to all of this. And what I see, and I had a conversation, to give you an example of this yesterday, and had a conversation with a gentleman who's in financial services. He's been in financial services for a number of years, I think around 7 years. And we were talking about database. And so he's been in business for database. And I'm like, how many people do you have? He's like, I've probably got hundreds of people. And as I was talking with him, is that he's just now, 7 years in the business, now just starting to put them into a CRM, into an actual system. And hasn't been really doing a great job in communication with them. And I wish I could say that he was an outlier, but a lot of times in the conversations that I have with local service-based businesses, whether that's mortgage, insurance, real estate, financial services, right? It's a lot of that is, or they have the database. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I send something, sometimes I'm like, hey, who are your A client? Who are your, which people have the greatest value to your business? And that's what I hear, right? Nothing. They're just, because they're like, oh, I don't really know what you mean. And this is why this is so important. This is why by doing this, by having your database categorized in all of this, because there's so much business, again. And I share this not to impress you, but to impress upon you of the power of the databases in our real estate business, and also in the clients and students that I have in clients of the business that comes out of that. Because again, they already know, like, and trust you. And so if we connect with them on a regular basis, and we teach them how we run our business and how we work and how they can refer us. And there was a guru of networking and relationships. I'm not a guru. I say this all the time. I'm just a student. I'm constantly learning. Even after 30 plus years of running and owning service-based businesses, I'm still learning. I still have coaches and mentors in my life, just because you can't know it all. It just doesn't work. And this gentleman was saying, as an expert, he's like, you should never ever ask for, a referral. And I was just like, interesting. And I think maybe what he was in my interpretation of it if going to someone and just saying is like, hey, who do you know that's thinking about, right? Just this pat answer question about, asking for a referral. But I think if we do it right, the asking really comes from a place where, not from desperation or need or all of these other things. It's coming from a place of, if I bring value to people, and I'm in a conversation, and I'm having lunch, right, with Jenny, and we're talking, and what's going to happen in that conversation, even though we may not even nothing to do with business, but it will turn to that, right? Because if she's in business, or I'm just in business, she may not be, is asking me like, hey, so how's real estate? What's going on with real estate? Or, hey, what's going on with insurance? I live in South Florida, and insurance is crazy because of hurricanes and all of those things. Like, hey, thanks for asking. Hey, this is what's going on. And this is what right now, who I'm looking for. Hey, could you do me a favor? Right. And if you run across XYZ person on that, hey, I would love to have a conversation with him, because we have whatever, this great new program, a new carrier that's just come into the state of Florida, whatever that is inside of your business. But you notice how that conversation is different than me calling up somebody and going, hey, who do you know that would like to get an insurance quote today? And I'll tell you what they'll say. I don't know anybody that wants that. Now there are people in their life that could probably use that, but it's in the way that we're asking. It's also in that relationship is because it becomes a natural flow. Why? Because these are people that know you. You're sitting across having coffee with them. It's just like with hanging out with a friend. It's like, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, could you do me a favor? And here's the thing. This is what this is the piece of this is like because people want to be helpful. Most people do. Most people want to be helpful. If you'll just do this, like, hey, if you do me a favor, hey, when you come across somebody and you give them a specific example of what that person looks like, instead of saying, hey, if you run across somebody that wants, insurance or wants to get a second opinion on their insurance, let me know. Right? Just washes right over them. Okay. But if I can be specific, give them an example or two examples, because then they can start thinking it's about who do I know that fits that? Right? There's the difference in asking for a referral, right? And sharing something that they could possibly help you with. And then we're always coming then from a place of contribution and bringing goodwill to people. Like, what do they need? Like, hey, what's going on in your world that you need help in? Outside of the industry that you're in, because everyone's got something that's going on, and it could be a bajillion other things. And you just may have that person that you could connect them with, like going, hey, hey, my youngest is struggling in school with reading or whatever, that, like going, oh, hey, one of my clients is a tutor in English. She's awesome. And she takes it and she goes, hey, could I connect you with her and see if that might be a good fit? You see that? You see where that's the difference of it is that it has anything to do with me. But the issue is I now create value for them, right? If I can help them solve a problem, do I become more valuable to them? Absolutely. In a different way, because then they're thinking about me. And then they know what I do because we're having conversations where we're staying connected with all that, but they look at you differently. I'm just telling you, I know this works because it's worked for me. It's worked for hundreds, if not thousands of other people that understand this concept way before I didn't create it. And so I learned it and utilized it and taught it, and then it just works. And so that's why my challenge with you is to do that. And I know that kind of went on a little bit different direction, but I want to just have you to understand that the power of staying connected with your database on a consistent basis. And is it always going to be perfect? Absolutely not. We don't live in a perfect world, but if we can systematize this as much as we can and to be able to do this, because most people are doing not even a fraction of this. And all you've got to do for your competition is just do a little bit more than what they're doing. And what they're doing is probably not a whole lot. And these are people that you have already, right? We're not going out having to procure new ones. And that's why we use our database to do that. So I'm gonna bring this in for a landing today on this training. Obviously, I have a lot of passion around this. I love teaching it. I love helping people see it and to utilize it and to grow it, to see their business start to grow. And because it's a more enjoyable way to run business. So recapping it, face-to-face, at least 2 times a year. If they're your A clients, I'm going to tell you, we're going to do that once a month. And if they're Bs, it's probably I would always recommend doing that every 2 months. Okay. So 1 time a month for your A's. So that's what I've got for you today. If you guys want the copy of this is the Client Engagement Playbook. Let me know. I'll send it over to you. And if you ever have questions around your business on what that would look like, on how to put all this together and to make it work easier and more effective, let me know. Always love to have a conversation on what that may look like. And so stay tuned in for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be part 7. This will be our final installment on the engagement on the 36 Connect, and I'll be wrapping it up tomorrow. And so stay tuned for that, and have an awesome day, everybody. I'll see you back here